Hello everyone, my name is Alan and today I'm going to present to you RA 9275 or the Philippine Clean Water Act of 2004. First off are the general provisions. So here is the Declaration of Principles and Policies. The official name of RA 9275 is an act providing for a comprehensive water quality management and for other purposes. And it shall be known as the Philippine Clean Water Act of 2004. And it states that the state shall pursue a policy of economic growth in a manner consistent with the protection, preservation, and revival of the quality of our fresh, brackish, and marine waters. And this law shall apply to quality management in all water bodies. For its policies, the Philippine Clean Water Act aims to streamline prevention, control, and abatement of water resource pollution, promote economic instruments and control mechanisms, formulate national program of water quality management, formulate integrated water quality management framework, promote environment-friendly and energy-efficient commercial and industrial processes and products, encourage cooperation and self-regulation, then provide comprehensive management program on water pollution prevention, promote public information, education, and participation, formulate and enforce an accountability system, and encourage cross-sectoral environment-related activities. Next is the Water Quality Management System. Here are the general provisions. For Water Quality Management Area, the law aims to designate water quality management areas which shall be governed by a board composed of multi-sectoral representatives. The governing board shall formulate strategies to coordinate policies for effective implementation and monitoring. The law also aims to create a multi-sectoral group for water quality surveillance and monitoring, which will submit recommendations and reports. Next is the management of non-attainment areas. The law aims to designate non-attainment areas which are water bodies that have natural or man-made sourced pollutants, which exceeds water quality guidelines. The law also aims to implement program to disallow new sources of water pollutant without discharge reduction from existing sources. For naturally occurring pollutants, discharge may be allowed provided the concentration will not exceed natural levels and will not impact health and ecosystems. Moreover, the law stipulates the coordination of measures to upgrade the water quality in non-attainment areas to meet the standards under which it has been classified and up to its projected potential use. Next is the National Sewerage and Septage Management Program. The law stipulates that there should be a preparation of a national program on sewerage and septage management with a priority listing based on population density and growth, degradation of water resources, topography, geology, vegetation, and other relevant factors. The national government may also allot funds for the construction and rehabilitation of these required facilities. Next is the Domestic Sewage Collection, Treatment, and Disposal. The law stipulates the provision of water supply and sewage facilities and/or concessionaires in Metro Manila and other highly urbanized cities in the country. Moreover, the law aims to formulate guidelines and standards for the collection, treatment, and disposal of sewage, including guidelines for the establishment and operation of centralized sewage treatment system. Next is the National Water Quality Management Fund, and this fund will be used to finance the following: containment and cleanup operations, ecosystem restoration and rehabilitation, research, enforcement and monitoring activities, technical assistance, grant rewards and incentives, and information and education campaigns. Another is the Area Water Quality Management Fund, and this fund will be used for the maintenance and upkeep of water quality of the management areas. Next is water quality variants for geothermal and oil and gas exploration. The law provides a variance in water quality criteria and standards for geothermal and oil and gas corporations that encounter reinjection constraints, provided that there is an adequate protection of downstream water bodies. And lastly is the provision of a list of categories of industry sector with corresponding effluent standards for each significant wastewater parameter. Next is water pollution permits and charges. The law stipulates that there should be an implementation of a wastewater charge system in all management areas for discharging wastewater into water bodies. Moreover, discharge permits will be required for owners or operators of facilities that discharge regulated effluents. Moreover, there is an allocation of effluent quotas using current or projected water quality guidelines of the water bodies that the effluents are being discharged in. Next are the mechanisms for financial liability. The Clean Water Act stipulates that Environmental Guarantee Fund or EGF should be required for the environmental compliance certificate process, which will help finance the maintenance of ecosystem health and for rehabilitation in case of damage. Moreover, any person causing pollution excess to standards shall be responsible for the containment, removal, and cleanup of that water body at their own expense. The next section are civil liabilities and penal provisions. Here is the list of prohibited acts under RA 9275. First is discharging and depositing any material directly or indirectly into or along water bodies which can cause pollution or impede natural flow. Second is discharging, injecting, and allowing to seep substances that would pollute groundwater. Third is operating discharge facilities without valid permits. Fourth is disposal of potentially infectious medical waste into seawater. Fifth is the unauthorized transport or dumping of sewage sludge or solid waste into seawaters. The sixth is the transport, dumping, or discharge of prohibited chemicals, substances, or pollutants listed under RA 6969. And lastly is the non-compliance to the local government unit's Water Quality Framework and Management Area Action Plan. For the fines, damage, and penalties, there is a fine of not less than 10,000 pesos nor more than 200,000 pesos for every violation. And also, the board may order closure, suspension, or cessation of operations until compliance with this act are undertaken. Moreover, failure to undertake cleanup operations shall be punished by imprisonment of not less than 2 years and not more than 4 years, and a fine not less than 50,000 pesos and not more than 100,000 pesos per day for each day of violation. Such failure and refusal resulting to serious injury or loss in life and/or irreversible water contamination of surface, ground, coastal, and marine water shall be punished with imprisonment of not less than 6 years and 1 day, and not more than 12 years, and a fine of 500,000 pesos per day for each day during the omission and/or contamination continues. For gross violation, criminal charges will be filed. This will include deliberate discharge of toxic pollutants under RA 6969, 5 or more violations within 2 years, and blatant disregard of orders from the Pollution Adjudication Board. For gross violations, offenders shall be punished with a fine of not less than 500,000 pesos, but not more than 3 million pesos per day for each day of violation, or imprisonment of not less than 6 years, but not more than 10 years, or both. And lastly, non-complying government officials will also be subjected to administrative sanctions. And that is all for my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.